Shout out to Andrew Tate, man.
You talk about Russia-Ukraine.
W.
The policy of Russia-Ukraine and the color revolution, and they try and messy it. So when we're talking about complicated issues, I try and move it back. Russia basically had no choice because they were poked 500 times and they finally reacted and they had to make a strong statement. If someone broke into this house and tried to attack my children and I murdered them, and someone was going to say, oh, but you didn't have to murder him, which is basically what you just said with Russia. You're saying he didn't have to invade Ukraine. He shouldn't have invaded Ukraine. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have murdered him. But he was acting in a way which there had to be consequences for. And it was dark, and I didn't know who he was exactly, and he's a big guy, so I stabbed him to death. That's life. That's life. We don't always get the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of sitting there and looking at it with a court case and forensic analysis and deciding how proportionately must Russia act in the face of this NATO aggression. Should they only send another evil letter? Should they do? No. He had to take an action. And governments, especially internationally, don't have that many actions. They have the UN, which he tried. He has the media war, which he tried to try and make people clear what's happening, but he can't puncture the Western Hemisphere. You can't even see Putin's speeches on the Western news. So he can't puncture the Western Hemisphere in terms of public opinion. He tried all the legal avenues. What's left? Force. So well, there's nothing else but force. And then he went into Ukraine, could have conquered Kiev in 3 days, didn't, because they did a deal. Boris Johnson overthrew the deal. So they betrayed him again. How patient has Russia been?
Man.
Like he's been sitting there being patient for the last
Sheesh.
years.
I would have started nuking the hell out of everybody.
It was in 2018, 2019, one of those years, maybe earlier than that, maybe 2007, 2008. Here in this city, Putin was talking to NATO about this. And they all made these agreements and deals, and then they start saying Ukraine's going to join NATO. They broke the rules. They broke the law. They broke into his house. So he reacted. If you break into a man's house and he shoots you to death, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't care that his reaction was disproportionate. I care that you shouldn't have done what you did. They provoked it. Now they're going to have to deal with the consequence. And to be honest with you, he's been nice.
Very nice.
I think that Russia sees Ukrainians as brothers. I think they've been very nice. There is nothing stopping Russia launching hypersonic missiles today and taking out the entire power grid tomorrow and putting them all through a freezing cold winter without heating or electricity. That would take 10 minutes of effort, and he's refusing to do it. Russia isn't doing to Ukraine what Israel's doing to Gaza, is he?
No.
He can. Russia's far more capable than Israel is. He's not.
But is that because...
No, that's because he has respect for human life. That's because Putin's a person who understands decency. And I guess the Israeli establishment doesn't. That's because he doesn't want to genocide an entire population. Russia could destroy Ukraine the way Israel's destroying Gaza, and he's not.
Exactly.
So I think that we should all be thankful to Russia, considering we
look at Mario now fall panicking.
Sanction him into the earth, attempted to throw revolution in this country every 5 minutes. The amount of shit we've given Putin, and he sat there like a very patient man when he has a nuclear trigger. I think we should be far more thankful, truthfully. Because America wouldn't put up with that shit the other way around. Not as long as he has.
And obviously China's not putting up with it when it comes to Taiwan.
China's playing no games. Look, China's the future. They know they're the future.
Right.
China's playing no games with the Western Empire.
There's no stopping China's growth, guys. It's impossible. It's been studied by several people.
There's no such thing as an American ally. There's just an American vassal state. You can't be an ally of America and have your own sovereign ideas and thoughts and opinions. You can be their ally if you do whatever they want. So you become their vassal state. So you have to be controlled by them. So every country they can't control, they say is an enemy. They can't control China, so they call it an enemy. They can't control Russia. So
right.
They can control Germany, so they call it an ally. So when they say to the German leadership, yeah, we're going to destroy your auto industry. You're going to lose VW, which you've had since World War I. We're going to get rid of all those jobs because we're going to destroy Nord Stream to piss off Putin, and you're not going to be able to afford to produce cars. The German leadership goes, okay. They're not allowed to say no. You can't say no to America if you're their ally. America's like me, and Europe's like their sons. You have no choice. Problem is, when you're in those scenarios, geopolitically, America can sacrifice certain countries for its own benefit. Rome would sacrifice a colony to save Rome. So before Trump just won, which maybe everything will change, but before that, America was in sharp decline. And the way it would prop up its decline for as long as possible would be to sacrifice Europe. That's what it would do. It would blow up Nord Stream and say, you can get your energy from us. and they'd make Europe buy it from them instead of getting it from Russia to support them. So they destroy their allies to save themselves. That's how the world's always been. You can look at a mafia gang. You can look at a gang or an organization. You'll let your allies die in an ambush before you let your core team die in an ambush. That's how things work. So the only countries that America don't like are the countries that refuse to be completely controlled by them. You can't be an American ally. You have to be America's bitch.
Ooh.
That's the problem. And Russia refuses. That's why we're so Russia-phobic. What's Russia really done to us?
Nothing.
Russia could have been an ally. Look, I'm not saying I agree with everything.
Here we go with the grift. Here we go with the grift. You see, I don't agree with everything that you said, but I agree with a lot of you. Fucking.
Russia, we had the opportunity. The U.S., the West had the opportunity to have Russia part of NATO.
Well, we say
right, dumbass.
Exactly. We had Putin attempted to join.
He attempted to join, and they refused him.
Last time there was a world war, they were our ally. So we have this huge Russia-phobic since the fall of the Soviet Union, since communism's collapsed. What do we hate them so much for?
Some of these fucking decisions made just make no sense. They make no sense. Like you had your number one enemy. You know the old saying. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. You had the opportunity to make Russia extremely close. They wanted to innovate. They wanted to be part of NATO. And then what you did is you turned them into an enemy at a time when you need them to be an ally, because their neighbor and their historical enemy, China, is your main rival. I'm not saying to use the word enemy. They are your rival. Trump's new pick for secretary.
Well, let me explain it to you, Mario. The way that the military-industrial complex and these globalist elitists control America is through warfare, because they make money off of war. Okay? They fund the mullahs in Iran. They fund the Ukraine. They fund Russia. They give money over to America, to Israel, to Iraq, in order for them to purchase their weapons from these weapons manufacturer companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, all these guys, right? And this is billions of dollars worth of business. They use our tax dollars, U.S. American tax dollars, right? Because they have control of the Federal Reserve, and they give it out. They distribute it to all these countries, even people, or even countries who you would consider American enemies, right? In order to continue this business model of pretty much a warfare. That's really what that's a fucking business model, war, right? And they continue to have control over America and its politics and its government, and they need an enemy in Eastern Europe. And who better than Putin? Who better to propagate than Putin, than Vladimir Putin, who is actually a threat to their globalist agenda and the New World Order? Why do you guys think that Biden unfroze $300 billion to Iran, right? And this has been documented even like during the Gulf War and all these other, even during the Gulf War, the Iranian-Contra scandal, where America was giving money both to Iraq and Iran on the premises that they continue purchasing weapons from the MIC, the military-industrial complex, to continue having this war, so they can war out on who controls the Horn of Hormuz, or the Persian Gulf, where they, not the Horn of Hormuz, the little region where they transport the oil and stuff like that. Who do you think is allowing all this shit to happen? The same people, right? Remember the Iranian-Contra scandal, where they were using the money that they were making? They were making off the Iranians to fund the Nicaraguan rebels to overthrow the communist regime there. Remember that, Reaganomics? So it's not about it's not about being buddy with anyone. I mean, of course, Russia would definitely benefit being a part of NATO, but it undermines the power of the globalist to have Russia as an ally. We need him as an enemy to continue fueling this business model.